Hey, what's up everyone? I'm KrystiSoof, and today I'll be diving into something I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, my experience with Starlink. Have you been frustrated with your internet provider? Do you have internet speeds where only 1990 would be jealous about? Then this might be for you. Or not at all. Starlink isn't perfect. It's been a wild ride, both good and bad. So grab a snack, settle in, and let's get into it. I hear you asking, why would you go with Starlink? Especially in my case, when I do have high-speed internet available in my area. Is it just my inner Dutch feeling a link with Starry Night? No, or rather, not really. I've been with my previous internet service provider, or ISP, for years, without a hitch. And as I rely on my internet connection being good, I even paid extra for a business connection. Which really is just the same as a consumer connection, but you pay more and they are supposed to solve technical issues faster. Supposed being the keyword here. The last 6 months that I was with my previous provider, I had regular drops, lag spikes, and lowered internet speed. It was irregular, unstable, unreliable, and definitely not a home network issue, as I've told them well over a dozen times on the phone, and has been confirmed by the technicians all over 10 times in a 6 months period. Obviously, my patience ran dry, and I eventually terminated my contract with them after 6 long months. My fiber line will have a signal soon anyhow, right? No, sadly not. It was supposed to be active in Q4 of 2023, it got delayed without any communication several times, and now it's estimated for Q4 of 2024. So without a reliable available connection, I figured I would give Starlink a shot, unless I wanted to try ADSL. No thanks. And honestly, I was just curious, or I was just really feeling like a Vincent that day. Of course, I did try ADSL for 4 hours and promptly returned it. Now let's talk setup. If you're thinking it's plug and play, you are technically not wrong, but it's Wi-Fi only. Who the thought that was a good idea? Great for when you only have a handful of devices and game on Wi-Fi like a pleb. Who does this? Why would you do this to yourself? So that meant I had to set up a Wi-Fi bridge just to get my whole home network connected, and it was not great. The connection was very unstable, so Starlink forced me to make some changes. I ended up spending more money on Elon Musk buying a proprietary Ethernet adapter, which is proprietary. Did I tell you it is proprietary? Yeah, we will talk about that mess in a bit. I also put up a pole in my backyard to get dishy off the ground, and I even 3D printed a adapter because, let's face it, I wasn't about to give even more of my money to Elon Musk for some overpriced accessories. And after everything was set in place, I was finally able to get a more reliable connection. Honestly, Starlink has been performing pretty good. I'll show you. Oh, hold on, let me try that again. Yeah. In general, I'm getting download speeds between 150 and 250 megabit, with uploads between 20 and 50 megabit. Normal browsing, streaming videos, even gaming, it all works fine for the most part. But the sad ugly truth, it's not perfect. I've had occasional drops, especially during storms, and when it comes to streaming, well, that has been a bit of a headache. If you are into streaming, brace yourself. The upload speeds can be unreliable. However, the vast majority of the time it will be fine. The biggest issue is the, albeit very short, connection drops. These usually only last for a fraction of a second and go unnoticed. But with streaming, I've had plenty of frame drops and buffering, which is super frustrating, especially for your viewers.
So cringe is because most of the time I was doing... I just really hate OBS right now. This is definitely a sign. I'm getting crazy drop frames.
And it's not just streaming. Even watching streams can be affected by this, specifically if you have low latency enabled. I assume this is caused by Dishy hopping from one satellite to a new one, and is potentially the nature of this type of internet connection. Gaming isn't too affected by this, but if you are in an intense match, you bet it will happen at the most unfortunate moment. Now onto something that really frustrates me. The proprietary connectors that Starlink uses. If you are in the EU, and specifically the Netherlands like I am, you should know that this could actually be against the law. I'm by no means a lawyer, and I should also not be deemed as such. However, this is my interpretation of the regulations and the law here in the Netherlands. In the European Union, there is a regulation that upholds the freedom of choice of terminal equipment. This is the part of the European Electronic Communication Code, or EECC in short, which is implemented in Dutch law under the Telecommunicatiewet, or telecommunication law. According to these rules, consumers have the right to use their own modem or router with their internet service. This also means ISPs can't force you to use their hardware by using non-standard or proprietary connections that prevent you from using third-party equipment of your choosing. But that is exactly what Starlink does. Fasten your seatbelts, as I'll be using some technical terms. The dish itself, Dishy, is technically a PoE++ device. This means that you should be able to use a PoE++ injector or a PoE++ switch to power and connect to Dishy. But Dishy doesn't terminate in the standard RJ45 connection that you expect from a PoE++ device. Instead, it uses their proprietary connector that effectively locks you into either using their router or using their sometimes expensive adapters. Legally speaking, this is problematic because this bypasses the Netherlands' interpretation of the EU regulation, which mandates that internet connection in your home should terminate in a standardized, accessible manner. The Autoriteit Consument en Markt, the Dutch Authority for Consumers and Markets, has clear guidelines stating that the termination point of your internet connection, essentially the point where you would or could connect your own equipment, should allow consumers to freely choose their own modem or router. By not providing a standardized connection and instead forcing the use of their proprietary hardware, Starlink might be skirting the law. This isn't a technical issue, it's an unnecessary cash grab. Sure, third-party solution exists to make use of the proprietary connector to then inject power and split it off to a RJ45 connector. However, that already exists, you know, a PoE ejector. Not to mention it is a bit of a hack and is just e-waste the moment you decide to no longer use Starlink. So if you're considering Starlink, just be prepared to accept a Wi-Fi router or spend extra money to have it in your own control. That said, Starlink definitely has some clear benefits. The biggest one will be internet anywhere, as long as there is coverage, which they do cover a lot. For people in the remote areas, this can be a game changer. No longer do you have to wait until it is your turn to get that sweet fiber. Man, I've definitely been waiting for my turn. But if you already have a reliable fiber or coax available, Starlink is probably not your best bet. One surprising advantage, however, is that Starlink will keep working during power outages, if you've got a backup power source, that is. So when everyone else is offline, you're still surfing the web, streaming, or gaming without too much of a hitch. Perfect for a backup internet line if you really need that redundancy. So would I recommend Starlink? Yes, but with some reservations. If you're stuck between unreliable ADSL or Starlink, then yes, Starlink is a clear winner. But if you already have access to a stable fiber or coax connection, you might want to stick with that. My advice, if you're considering Starlink, make sure you scout out a nice high place for the dish. Higher would be better. Make sure you secure your setup properly to avoid issues caused by wind or movement, and obviously be prepared to buy proprietary hardware that will be e-waste in the end. And that's my Starlink experience. If you found this video helpful and generally dislike proprietary build crap, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. I'm KrystiSoof, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay connected.